Alien 8 UK.
Welcome back. You found it again. The UFO Files. Broadcasting round the clock on Alien 8 UK. Red-eye listeners, insomniacs, sky watchers, van drivers on the long haul. You're tuned to the only station that stares back at the dark with you. 24 hours, we circle the same old questions. Lights over the north, shadows over the south. Phone lines open, headphones on, blinds half drawn. I got case notes spread like takeaway menus. Highlighters bleeding through until sunrise. Coordinates scribbled on coffee stained napkins from a truck stop somewhere near the East Coast. We don't do jump scares here, we do the long stare out the window at 3:33 a.m. when the estate's asleep and the sky feels too crowded. You call in with that voice, half whisper, half there. First time chatter, long time watcher, and the hairs rise on every neck in frequency range. Maybe it's satellites, maybe it's stories we tell, so we're not alone in these flickering terraces and rented rooms. Either way, keep your dial right here. This is the UFO Files. Alien 8 UK. All night, every night, every night, every night, every night, every night. Welcome back.
Signal acquisition initiated. Cross-referencing anomaly archives. Pattern recognition complete. Aether 8 online. Proceed.
Hello, welcome to the Alien 8 UK, the UFO Files. It's just myself today. Still not really much sleep since doing the 24-hour at the weekend, but here we are. So this is the only podcast that I'm doing this week since then. There's nothing now until Monday. I've got John Hanson coming back on. So I'm just going to bring the guest on. So today's guest is Brad Olsen, and he's going to be talking about Antarctica and his new book, Secrets of Antarctica. So please welcome the guest. Welcome, Brad. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, Andy. Thanks for having me on. It's nice to make your acquaintance and talk about all things alien, paranormal, and UFO related.
Same goes. Thank you so much. So should we just kick off with it?
Jump right in.
Right. So you've got a new book out called Secrets of Antarctica.
There it is.
There it is there. So what inspired you to write this one?
Yeah, this is my 11th book. I did 3 books in a series called the Esoteric series. And those took a broad look at a lot of the secrets that have been withheld from humanity. And one of those secrets is Antarctica. So about 8 years ago, I had the opportunity to go down to South America, look into a lot of the megalithic sites and where the Nazis were hiding after World War II. And that actually has a direct connection to the secrets of Antarctica. And also on that trip, I got all the way down to Ushuaia in Argentina, the southernmost city in the world, and booked a passage on a sailboat and sailed across the Drake Passage to Antarctica. And I was on that boat for 26 days. So traveling's in my genes. I just love doing it. And but this, I'll tell you, this was the hardest trip I ever took, Andy. I was seasick for 3 days. I think I lost 25 pounds on that trip, and it's brutal.
Wow. So was this like a chartered sail, or was it like just some random person that was like, come on, let's go down to Antarctica?
Kind of. So the way it worked, I was with my girlfriend at the time. We did the trip through South America together, and got to Ushuaia right around Christmas in 2018. And at first we thought we'll try to book passage on a cruise ship. Well, all the tour brokers, they said, you're showing up at Christmas and New Year's and you think you're going to get on a cruise ship? We can't get you on until February. So, well, we're flying out in February. And so it didn't even look like the trip was going to happen. Then we went to this one tour operator, and she said, well, we can't get you on a cruise, but have you tried going over to the other harbor, the yacht harbor, and inquiring about getting on a sailboat, private ship? I said, no, we haven't done that yet. We did it and just started talking around. She mentioned that she knew of one that was looking for passengers. We met them, and they asked us to join their trip down there in January of 2019.
Oh.
So it was paid passage, but we both got on, and there was one other American on the trip. We're all still really good friends. And it was 11 Poles and 3 Americans on a 72-foot sailboat called the Chief One.
Wow. So was it what you expected?
Yes and no. I mean, I knew it was a frozen continent and that travel would be pretty difficult getting down there, which it was. But I thought we would have a little bit easier time traveling around and going perhaps inland, but we couldn't. There's a picture as we're just making landfall off of King George Island. So we did have the ability to jump in the dinghy and go check out penguin colonies and do things, for example. So the perception that Antarctica is closed off and you can't go there, well, that's not correct. I mean, I went down there, and we did have to sign up with the Argentinian Navy and let them know our general itinerary and who all was on board. And we got stamped out of Argentina, and we didn't get stamped back in till we arrived 26 days later. And that was kind of weird. So that was like in no man's land for 26 days.
So was there anyone else there when you got there? Not just like on the land, but sailing about? Was there other ships and liners and that?
Yeah. We saw a couple of the cruise ships, but we also saw another sailboat that left approximately the same time we did. And it was scuba divers who were going down there to scuba dive under the ice shelves and wreck dives. And one night they invited us on their ship to show us all the pictures and videos they took. And I'll tell you, Andy, I'm a scuba diver myself. And what they showed us living on the floor of Antarctica, the life was so colorful and so varied. It felt like they were in a tropical reef somewhere. It was pretty amazing.
So why is all this talk then that you can't go to Antarctica? You've got to get special permission? And I know it kind of, each different country or continent are all part of the same agreement. I understand that. Yeah. But with you saying you can literally just go there, and then there's loads of videos on TikTok and there's people other social media platforms, but people saying that they got chased out and that, you're not allowed in, or government, like these unmarked vehicles turn up and get you to leave without much what's the word? Without having much choice about it.
Well, so only one time did we see any kind of military, or in this case, it looked like a Coast Guard vessel, but they were a couple miles away. They didn't come near us at all. So there was never an opportunity to be chased out of there. Not that we were doing anything wrong, but you're right. There are places in Antarctica that you cannot go. There are no fly zones. There are no go zones. But the corridor along the Palmer Peninsula that we were in with the other cruise ships and the other sailboat, that is pretty much the place where most people who go on a sea journey down there will go to. And so those places, I don't think there's anything to hide. But when I was doing the research for my book, I found that there were indeed some very unusual sights, maybe even a large craft under the ice. And this happens to be in New Schwabenland, the area which was occupied by Nazi Germany before, during, and even after the war. And so this was an excavation that was done in 2013, fairly recently. And it's some kind of large machine under the ice. Now it's covered up. If you went to the Google Wayback Machine, you would just see it as it looks like, to my eyes, it looks like they covered it up with some kind of tent poles. And this is what it would look like today. But it's still some kind of massive machine, and they were doing a large excavation there in 2013, and you could still go on that Google Wayback Machine, see that there was a landing strip and snowmobile tracks, and they opened up a section of it and we're doing some kind of excavation. So I think that is one of the 3 motherships that's said to exist in Antarctica that have been known about since the 1970s and got the nickname Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria, the 3 ship names of Columbus's voyage. And so I'd say this is one of those 3.
So do you think these ships landed there, or they was already there? Or do you think they've come, I'm going to go inner Earth, do you think they've come up from below the ground? What?
Yeah, great question. My inclination, of course, nobody could really know except those who were on the ship. But it seems to me that they were crashed vessels, and some remote viewers from the Farsight Institute went to the GPS coordinates of that craft I just showed you, and they picked up that it was very ancient, very old, has not worked in a long, long time, but was built for giant beings, for some kind of alien or extraterrestrial that were very, very tall. Everything was built for something much larger than humans.
So was there any telltale signs of any other than, but you got the photos, obviously there's something going on there, but was there any telltale signs when you got there to say there's more going on than what we're being told about?
Well, absolutely. No doubt about it. There is so much to Antarctica, and a lot of it I think is going to be part of the big disclosure that we're starting to see happen. Now, the back of my book, I say all roads lead to Antarctica. Of course, no roads lead to Antarctica, but this could be the linchpin for a larger disclosure. For example, one of these giant mother ships, if this were to get the kind of recognition it deserves, this could very well be a step in the right direction to let people know that there have been alien craft that have crashed in Antarctica or were placed there a long, long time ago.
Yeah. So we was talking before we come on air about disclosure and that. So my question now is, do you think, like, with what the Pentagon and Trump Foundation and all that are releasing bit by bit, do you think they're leading up to tell us what's going on at Antarctica? Do you think Antarctica is going to be like the big boss
big
at the
reveal?
end? Yeah.
I kind of think it will, just because there's so much down there that hasn't seen the light of day, quite literally speaking, including I see in the comment section about the Black Pyramid. Well, they've been doing
Yeah.
scans of Antarctica much in the same way that they did the Giza Plateau last year, Filippo Bondi and his team. And look at this. One of those scans shows the Black Pyramid. So this is what's going to bring science into the fore here, is that now you're coming back with really hard evidence like these scans that are showing a perfect city grid.
Yeah.
Mother Nature does not create this perfect kind of symmetry of, say, a pyramid or a city grid, especially deep underneath the ice. So
No.
could have some major revelations coming out of Antarctica.
Yeah. Next question. I'm just going to throw it at you, and then it's one of those questions. The ice wall, does that exist? Do you think it exists? Is there any proof, or is it just another one of those speculations?
So let's define our terms. A wall implies that it goes straight down into the water and then into the ground.
Yeah.
So there are ice shelves, which are
Yes.
basically glaciers that have moved off the continent. I saw several of them myself, including the big chunks of icebergs that break off from those ice shelves.
Yeah.
One of the big takeaways from this last season, because every year from November to March, new scientists go down there and they're doing different things. One of the big takeaways this year was they sent submersible submarines underneath the Fitchner ice shelf, and it went for about 100 miles, a place where nobody's ever been to before.
Yeah.
And they saw the ice fish in their hatcheries down there. And so those ice shelves have been misconstrued as being ice walls.
Oh, yeah.
They do not go straight down into the ground. So I don't think there is such a thing as an ice wall. People are seeing the ice shelves and not understanding that that is meant to go all the way down. So I mean, I got on my cell phone pictures walking on terra firma on the continent of Antarctica. I mean, it definitely exists. It is a place. And I'm obsessed with maps. I was looking over my captain's shoulder much of the trip and looking at the depth charts and looking at the topography of the mountains around us. Everything matched what we were seeing. And it's a big place. You know, Antarctica is the 5th largest continent of the world. So the distances are vast. So to go to some of the pyramid sites that are above the ice, or to go out to these big UFOs, those places, I don't think you're allowed to go. There are places in Antarctica that are off limits, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I guess because I know of a couple of people that have been working out there doing that the Antarctic research. It's based in Cambridge, like where I used to work. I used to deliver to them years ago. I know they go out doing whatever research they're doing, and parts of that where they was going was general public couldn't get to. It was like working visa only. So unless you was part of one of the teams, you couldn't go to that particular part. But they was going out for like 3 to 4 months at a time and then coming back. So I get that. It's like anywhere. You're gonna have restricted, because not just because there's weird stuff going on, but it's going to interfere with whatever research that they're going to be doing. If there's loads of people just turning up and getting in the way, how are you supposed to be able to do your job? I understand that bit. So but so if Antarctica has become the world's greatest mystery, what do you think is the single biggest misconception that people have about it, other than the ice wall?
Well, a misconception is that that you can travel freely, although some people say you can't travel there at all. It's kind of a combination of both. There are areas you can go, and I have a map of some of the regions you're allowed to go. But then there are places like the giant hole in the ice near the North Pole that you will not see on Google Earth, that I have the official maps and directions for people that travel to the North Pole, and you actually can go there. There's a clean air sector, and then there's even a tourist camp. This is the blow up of the South Pole Station. But then there's a section of it called the clean air sector where you cannot go. You can't even cross country ski there. It's totally no-go zone. And I had an interview with someone who was flying the big C-130 planes for many years down there, and they did an emergency evacuation and went through the no-fly zone because somebody's life was at stake. So they had to get them off the continent as soon as possible. And then they saw this giant hole in the ice. And this is the core secret. This is what the NSA is doing down at the South Pole Station. They got an unmarked building at McMurdo, and they're assigned to deal with all things extraterrestrial. So what are they doing there unless there's something that they're protecting, trying to hide?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So do you think the hole was already there? Is it not we created it? Somebody else or something else created it? Is it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I should preface by saying that Antarctica is the most volcanically active continent in the world. So there's 14 known active volcanoes there and 93 known geothermal vents. So you would have the propensity to open up large under ice caverns. And of course, unlike the North Pole, the continent of Antarctica has land underneath, 2 miles of ice on top of this landmass, which broke off from Pangea many millions of years ago. And there are fossils of ferns and dinosaurs down there that could have only lived when Antarctica was a steaming hot jungle.
Yeah.
But this hole in the ice, I do believe it's a natural phenomenon because this heat that's coming up from the bottom needs an exit point. And I've been able to find other holes in the ice, but this one's really big. It's miles across. And when I was talking to Brian S., this whistleblower who flew over it, he said that he saw that there were snowmobile tracks and cat tracks going out from the base into the no-go zone. Somehow they got permission to go. But when it got to the hole in the ice, it corkscrewed down, he said. So there's road access down there as well.
Yeah. See, that's why I asked you, because I'd heard that. It looks like, well, not so much it kind of looks like it had been drilled, or they created like a quarry, like with like a helter-skelter going round on the outside. Yeah.
So they saw it from a distance. Everybody on the plane also saw it, and they were just absolutely amazed. They dropped the person off at the Davis base, and when they were flying back to the South Pole, they said, hey, let's go right over it and take a better look and see how deep it goes. But as they were entering the no-fly zone, on the radio crackles a voice says, hey, what are you doing? Divert back to your current course. And so they weren't able to get a second look. But when they got back to the South Pole Station, some guys in different kind of Arctic suits came up to meet them and read them the riot act and basically said, you didn't see what you just saw.
Wow. But straight away with that, it's even if it's not ETs, there's something definitely going on. But what, as of now, what do you think it is? What do you think's happening?
Well, in my book, I excerpt Admiral Richard E. Byrd's diary, which he gave to his son to be published after his death. Because after Operation High Jump, Admiral Byrd was given a gag order and told, you are not to speak of what you just saw. So his son and his nephew had to put this book together. It's called The Missing Diary of Admiral Richard E. Byrd, A Secret Expedition and Journey to a Paradise Inside the Earth. in Antarctica,
Yeah.
you'd think nothing but frozen wasteland down there. But in this diary, on his second flight to the South Pole, because Byrd was the first aviator to fly over the South Pole in 1929. And I show in my book the route he took from Little America. Then when he got to the South Pole in 1929, rather than just flip around and go back and do a little fist bump, yeah, we made it, he flies out of his way about 150 miles, where? Right in the direction of the hole in the ice. So I think he spotted it in 1929. And then he goes back at the end of 1946, the beginning of Operation High Jump. And this is when he had that very well-known incident of 3 hours of missing time that he just dropped off the radar and radio communication with the base. They thought he crashed. He was dead. He comes back on 3 hours later and said, we're flying back to base. Well, in that 3 hours, he flew into the hole in the ice. And I even asked Brian S., is the hole big enough? He said, oh, yeah, we could fly our C-130 cargo plane in there, no problem, turn around and fly back out. And so Byrd must have known that he could fly his plane in there too. And then in his diary, he talks about being met with 2 UFOs that took him to a place he called a Buck Rogers-like city under the ice, a high-tech alien race that exists down there. And he went and met a figure called the Master, who said that he wasn't too happy with the U.S. dropping nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, because this was 1946. The war had just finished. And then he was allowed to fly out, and the people that he was with, they had a Germanic accent, and the last thing they said to him was "Auf Wiedersehen." So it appears that the Germans had also set up a base with the domain of the Ariani, and Byrd went back to America. Well, he finished Operation High Jump, where they got their butt handed to them. They called off High Jump 2 months into the 6-month expedition, and then Byrd mentioned to Chilean newspaper on his way back that we would be confronted with an enemy that could fly pole to pole at incredible speeds. And so Byrd was then put into quarantine and sent to the Pentagon to give a debriefing that went all the way up to Truman, the president. Yeah. And he was given a gag order never to speak of this ever again, which essentially he did. But then the diary was published talking about his incredible journey to inner Earth.
Yeah, because I remember first hearing about that a few years ago. I remember watching the interview. He's like, obviously it was black and white, and he was saying that Byrd had gone down there, and then he came back and said, "Look, I need this armada. I need all these ships, plane, whatever." And he granted, how was it, like 14? Was it 14? The thought it was like loads of ships
and 33 planes.
That was it. Yeah.
But a huge, and he said in a press conference before High Jump that his mission was, quote, military in nature. Right after World War II, what's going on? What are you got to do a military expedition to Antarctica for?
But then he was dead open about what he'd seen. He's like, there's all these plants like Jurassic Park style stuff going on, all these beautiful colors and these animals, plants, flowers, and everything that you couldn't even begin to imagine. He's like, these colors down there that you don't even know exist. But then when you said about talking with people with the German accent, that was when I was listening to that, it clicked, because obviously after World War II, a lot of the Nazis and that went down to Argentina. But as you were saying before, there's a direct link between Argentina and Antarctica. So we know, well, we think we know that there's stuff going on between them and them. I just don't want to say too much so I don't get booted off YouTube. I'm trying to word it right. So we all know that there's links going on between a lot of them, and like a particular person who's in charge of the German army in the Second World War was supposed to have gone and lived there till his final days up until like was it late 70s, late 80s or something?
Yep.
Before he passed, and he's got family there. So yeah, there's a lot. There's too much, and I don't believe in coincidences, but there's too many coincidences for it not to be a real thing. There's too many dots that join up for me, and yeah, like just because I'm thinking, because in Earth, Antarctica, and all that is one of my biggest things, especially like with the UFOs and that, because I do strongly believe that I suppose the majority of what we see in the sky are either coming out of the oceans or coming from somewhere nearer than where we think they are. I don't think they're traveling across space to come to us, because I keep saying this, just because we see it in the sky doesn't mean to say it's not come from anywhere else. It's like you see a McDonald's bag in the bin. It's not just appeared in that bin. That's not where it's come from. It's got to have gone through a process to get to that garbage can or whatever. So just because we're seeing a UFO in the sky doesn't mean to say that's where they're coming from. They've got to go up to travel to get to where they want to be. And obviously, if they're in the sky, there's literally next to nothing stopping them getting. There's no obstacles to get them from A to B. But I don't believe that they're coming from space or out of space. I do strongly believe it. They're coming out the oceans and are in the Earth. And I thought that now, I'd say at least 2 years.
Yeah, I agree with you. The underwater submersible objects, USOs, are as big of a story as UFOs, unidentified flying objects. But you know, Andy, how it's interesting, we're always been told, oh, look to the skies. They're going to be coming down from the skies from faraway planets. Yeah. Those are extraterrestrials, extra being outside of our planet, coming here to Earth. Well, what about right below our feet? What about the inner terrestrials that may have been here for a very long time, like the master in this domain of the Ariani under the ice in Antarctica? And then you have those entities called ultra terrestrials that can transition through walls and are of a lighter density than we are. So there's still so much we need to learn about these visitors that are coming from the planet or here.
Whatever it is, it's all to do with frequency. And I think a lot of them do have the ability to shift their frequency, to change from theirs to ours, to whatever they need to. I'm not saying all of them are, because I have no idea, but that just seems to be the general pattern of what's going on. Because I don't know, it's too easy, I think, to say that they're coming from outer space.
Yeah.
And with there being so many different types of, didn't someone say there's like 117 different species of alien or something? Something, that have been recorded. So they're going to be coming from all over. But then, if they're coming, say they are coming from inner Earth, then to me that'd be a direct connection to the USOs, because obviously if they're coming out this giant 2 mile wide hole or whatever, and it's all restricted airspace, then no one's going to be seeing them do it. But then if they're going in the seas and the oceans and traveling across without having to go in the sky, and then coming up as and when they need to.
Yeah, and that's what they said about at the Battle of High Jump, is that these craft not only came out of holes in the ice, but right up out of the ocean itself. So all the way back to 1946, we've been dealing with USOs coming up from out of the ocean, and whether those were an alien race that were allied to the Germans, or if it was the German backward engineered technology itself, that's the big question. And also at the bottom of the ocean between South America and Antarctica is this underwater mystery.
Oh, yes.
Eltenin antenna that was discovered in 1964, just quite accidentally. And it's this giant antenna on the seafloor.
Isn't it like 500 meters tall or something
Yeah,
like
it's
that?
huge.
Like half a kilometer.
Yeah,
Is that the one? Yeah.
that's the one. Yep.
But
That's why I
you'll
put
know-
it in this
yeah.
book, because it's off the coast of Antarctica.
But you'll know as well that this meeting that supposedly took place between Hitler, Churchill, and you said it was Truman? I'm not very good on the American presidents.
So it was Franklin D. Roosevelt for most of World War II, but he
Right.
died right at the very end in the spring of 1945. And then Harry Truman was
Right.
the
It might,
president.
it might have been Roosevelt. There's supposed to have been a meeting where they've met, where they was talking about the goings on in Antarctica. So it's in a couple of books. I've heard it on podcasts. Obviously, I wasn't there, so I don't know how true it was. But there just seems to be a lot of stuff that's been recorded that people have forgotten about, that just kind of like get shifted to one side. Then it doesn't get picked up again.
Yeah. Well, and keep in mind that your British spy agency was able to crack the Enigma code used by the Germans.
Yes.
And so they were spying on the German U-boats all throughout World War II. In fact, I went to several of these spy stations on the Palmer Peninsula, that being Port Lockroy, and another one on the Ukrainian Vernansky base, which was originally a UK spy station under Operation Tamerlane. And they were picking up these U-boat transmissions and able to translate them. And some of the last transmissions coming out of Berlin in the spring of 1945, well, it was Hermann Göring talking to a U-boat off of Terra del Fuego in southern South America. What the U-boat was doing there is a big mystery, but I would say probably on its way to New Schwabenland in Antarctica.
So it's so fascinating, and I know there's a lot of stuff that's put out there to like confuse people and muddy, as saying goes, muddy the water and all that. But there's too much evidence for there not to be anything going on.
Right.
It's like people putting in the chat about ETs and aliens, UFOs and all that being able to teleport from one point to another. But there's nothing to disprove that if there is stuff coming out of inner Earth, Antarctica, that they don't have the technology to do that.
Right. Yeah. And to say that the Germans didn't make their way deep under the ice is another misconception, because I've got maps in the book that were taken by the Soviets, who were the first to get into Berlin at the end of World War II. And they had these U-boat maps that were acquired by the Soviets that got sold on the black market in the 1990s. So you could show up in Moscow in the early 1990s with a suitcase full of hard currency, and you could say, I want your alien autopsy videos. People would go into the KGB headquarters, and they have their own, like the Santilli video of an alien autopsy that's on the internet now. Oh, I want alien crash sites. Yeah, we got those too, shot from different angles. But they also were buying these incredible documents that came out of Germany at the end of the war. It went to the Soviet Union. When the Soviet Union collapsed, people were just selling them on the black market. And you have the directional maps in German to a place called Agartha. Yeah, they were really interested in going to Agartha. And so we've been able to use these maps and create a direction on Google Earth where they were going underneath the ice. And lo and behold, the location that they were heading to was within 100 miles of the South Pole. So remember I said that there's a road that corkscrews down there. You could fly a plane in the hole in the ice. And now we see that they even had a U-boat route going to within 100 miles under the ice. So tell me how you want to get there. Land, sea, or air. We got a way.
Yeah. So do you think, I've not looked into this, and I don't know if there's any research done on it, but do you know if they found any stargates or portals in the oceans?
Oh, in the oceans. That's interesting. I'm just aware of 2 stargates that were discovered, one in Egypt in about 1894, and then another one which was controlled by Saddam Hussein in Iraq. That was an ancient Sumerian portal. And a lot of people don't know this, but the second time America went into Iraq, the first thing they did was take the Museum of Antiquities in Baghdad. You think, why would they do that? Why not go to the military base or take over the radio station? And no, they went to the museum. So I asked Michael Jaco, who was Special Forces guy, and he said, well, they wanted what was underneath that museum. And I said, what's underneath? He said, the museum was built on top of an ancient cave, and the museum's kind of a cover for where they found a Stargate. And Saddam has started using that Stargate. He got it to work. And he was sending his own time-traveling astronauts through the Stargate. The U.S. found out about it. They said, we can't let that stand. That's what the Second Gulf War was all about, was getting that Stargate back. And it was in a cave below this Museum of Antiquities in Baghdad.
Yeah, no, I've heard that story before, because obviously a lot of the stuff that's going on around that part of the world isn't actually what we think it's not what we've been told is what's going on.
Not been told much of what's going on this whole time, Andy. That's true.
I think every single one is, I suppose, ulterior motive.
Yeah.
So, all this, it really does fascinate me, because I don't know. It's always has done. So growing up, I used to watch that Arthur C. Clarke. Is it Modern Mysteries? I think it was called. Unexplained Mysteries. And I'm sure one of them was, if people remember, he's talking about stargates and stuff like that, and interdimensional. It might not have been that. It might have been something else that was on around the same time. And this is back in the 70s, early 80s. But then it just went really quiet with anyone mentioning anything like it. And it's not until, like yourself, bringing books out and going research and investigating places that you get any of this new information as to what's going on. Because there's just too much being covered up.
Yeah.
It does my head in, to be honest with you.
I agree. In your country and mine, it's just maddening. You know, isn't it funny? We often say, oh, well, Russia, commies, and China, commies. They've done more for disclosure than our countries have. And we're supposed to be the beacon of freedom. Now, China just sent probes on the dark side of the moon.
Yeah.
And they, too, if you look deeply into some of the findings, were reporting finding some kind of artifacts that had been fashioned by an intelligent hand. So the evidence is out there. You just got to know where to look and who's providing it. Of course, the Russians did their big data dump after the Cold War, but some of the best research I got for this book came from Soviet Union and Russian journalists, and also about the hole in the ice, that too was known by the Russians. They knew that the Germans had a breakaway civilization down there, and even their own secret space program called the Nachtwaffen, the Dark Fleet, which operated out of Antarctica. In fact, the latest documents out of the Pentagon just this last week, Dr. Michael Salla broke it down, and he said that they now are releasing documents about the German secret space program operating out of Antarctica. So if you know where to look, this is mind-blowing information that's coming out.
Yeah, got a couple of questions for you. So I've done that one. And this is from Baby with a Laser again, Darren. On the subject of pyramids, I recommend looking into the Welsh pyramid story on Richard D. Hall website. A very interesting story. I don't know if you know about that. That's
So
about a black pyramid in Wales.
In Wales, no, I've not heard about that. I'd be very interested to find that out.
Yeah, I'll see if Darren can send me the links over, and I can forward them on to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's a black pyramid in Antarctica, and another one's supposed to be up in Alaska. And
in the one in Bosnia.
I was just in Bosnia. I was speaking at the Bosnian Pyramid Conference. It's not black, but it's the largest pyramid in the world. The Pyramid of the Sun. It's quite compelling. Yeah. And there's even tunnels. And the same guy, Felipe Bondi, who was scanning in Egypt under the Great Pyramid last year, they're doing scans of Bosnia and finding that too has tunnels all around it.
Oh, very interesting. Next question is from Simon. Who's guarding the hole in the ice?
Well, that would be our own American NSA agency. No such agency, the one that didn't even admit they existed until the 1980s. Well, NSA agents are popping up all over Antarctica. In fact, it was these men in suits that came and met Brian S. and the crew. They thought they were NSA. And there's a building at McMurdo, an unmarked building, the biggest secret that everybody knows, that's run by the NSA. Kind of like our Area 51 here. It doesn't exist, but everybody knows it does. Same with Antarctica. So who's guarding the hole? The NSA.
Yeah. Do you think these could be Stargate or portals down there?
Quite possibly so. But a natural one. And the portal leads to the planet system Vega. So if you go directly out from the hole in the ice, say you're a spacefaring vehicle, and you go off planet, you go directly above the South Pole, there is a portal that goes to Vega from there, a natural one.
So is that in the book?
Yeah.
I know, whenever you hear something, it's like thought process changes because you're learning new information or other stuff's coming to light that wasn't fully correct. It's like some of it might have been made up, like exaggerated, should we say. But it's like the more, obviously, like yourselves that go there and come back with the information, it's like, it's just same again. It's more questions than answers. Yeah, which isn't a bad thing. So absolutely. Next question. Sorry.
Yeah, just agreeing with you.
Yeah. So if Antarctica really contains evidence of a forgotten civilization, what would that discovery do to the understanding of our human history?
Oh, it would absolutely rewrite our ancient history, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because then you could probably tie in the Great Pyramids of Egypt with this lost civilization, which I think it definitely was. That was the Osiris Empire right after the last pole shift, or when Atlantis fell. And this is technology that was just parlayed to the next generations after the last pole shift. And they still can't figure out how the Great Pyramids were built with all the megalithic designs and the inside. And then Dr. Robert Schoch conclusively determined that the Sphinx and the whole Giza Plateau was built during the last ice age, because there are water markings on the Sphinx that could have only occurred when Egypt was a steaming hot jungle. and those watermarks were created, during the last ice age when water was flowing over Giza Plateau.
But do you think that's one of the reasons why it's being kept a secret? Because if all this was to come out and they had to rewrite history, it'd be basically them turning around saying we got it wrong and yes, we've been lying. And I don't think anytime soon they're ever going to do that.
Yeah, that's the general premise why these secrets are being kept. That, and for trying to backward engineer the technology. So the other duty of the NSA is anytime there's a crashed UFO, that they're Johnny on the spot. They're the first ones to go there to look up, and cordon it off and create a cover story if necessary. And why? Because they want this technology. They want to try to backward engineer it, which I think the Germans did successfully about 100 years ago. We caught up, and Ben Rich, who was the head of the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works and worked out of Area 51, on his deathbed in the 1980s, he said, we have technology that is light years ahead of what they have, what they're telling us on the planet. We have technology to take ET home, he said. This is in the 1980s. So you can imagine how much more advanced they are now.
But I remember years ago, probably when I was at college, reading that because of the Second World War, that Germany, because the way that they was doing stuff, they advanced in science and tech something like 25, 30 years within a 2-year period. So that they must have been getting information from somewhere to advance that much in such a short time.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like there's someone on the other week, can't remember what the guest was, and they were saying if you look at how we was up until like the early 1900s, it was other than the Industrial Revolution, it was kind of at a standstill. But then if you look back over the last 50 years from where we was to where we are now, it's just advanced, 10 times quicker than it ever has done before.
Yeah, and that's why the stakes are so high here, Andy. I think your audience would understand that what we're talking about is spacefaring technology, and with it comes the other inventions that have also been suppressed, like free energy. Because it's not that they're worried about with disclosure that people are saying, oh, there are aliens coming here from faraway places. Oh, they got scaly skin or they got slits in their eyes. They don't care about what we talk about, the physical characteristics of what these aliens look like. Because the second question is, oh, they're coming from far away. Well, how did they get here? What kind of propulsion did they use? What kind of energy source? Then it opens up that can of worms that they want to keep bottled up, because we've had free energy technology, ever since Tesla 100 years ago with the Wardenclyffe Tower, that we have not needed to pollute this planet using energy, that it's all been available and free to us for quite a long time, but they suppress it because energy is the most profitable industry on the planet. So they don't want to go out of business. It's just like the American Cancer Society. They don't want to find a cure. They put themselves out of business. So a lot of this technology is just bottled up.
Well, that'll lead me to the question I'm going to ask you next. So for them to get this technology, what do you think it's costing us to gain this knowledge? Because
that was another Ben Rich quote. He said that these projects are all bottled up in the black projects. You can't get them out. He said it would take an act of God for them to give up this knowledge, this technology. So it's really, really hard to get it out there. But I think they've painted themselves in a corner, because a lot of UFO sightings in this modern age are not extraterrestrials or even interterrestrials. They're our own craft.
Yeah.
So I had a conversation with Dr. Stephen Greer about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, what percentage would you say are ours or theirs? And he told me 80-20. 80% of all UFO sightings worldwide are human-made UFOs that people just can't identify. Only 20% are of a non-human origin.
Yeah. I've got another question for you from Tets. Brad, I recorded an orange orb in my garden. It has a face in it and it has something in its forehead.
I don't know what that means.
Is that? Don't know. Do you know what's in its forehead? Can you see? Not you. I mean, Tets.
Yeah, this person, Tets.
Yeah.
What's an orange orb?
You can describe what's in its forehead, and then we'll carry on. But it's just, I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, about the tech and what it's costing us to gain it. Then you said like 80-20 with the UFOs being ours to theirs. So yeah, I get that, but I don't know. It's just so fascinating. It's fascinating and frustrating. I know I said it earlier, because like same with disclosure, it's all right them showing us videos, they're showing us photographs, and whether it's in thermal imaging, infrared, UV, whatever format and spectrum they're using, but we want to know what they are, where they're coming from, and why they're coming. I think that's the main three answers that's the answers that I want anyway.
Yeah.
Because we know they exist. We've seen them. I've seen them. You've probably seen them yourself. And these stuff, like you say, in the sky, but where are they coming from and why are they coming here? What's the main reason for them to keep coming back? I get it if they're already from here. So I understand that, but if say they are traveling thousands of light years to come over, there must be a reason behind it for them to keep coming.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of different agendas as to why different ET races would be here. My understanding is some of them, they're not interested in humans at all. They're just coming for a beetle in the Amazon because it has some kind of DNA sequence that they want.
Yeah.
Some are coming here just to simply observe Earth at this very transitionary period in human history. Others are doing the abductions and cattle mutilations. They have their own service to self agenda, and they are doing what they do out of their own reasons for doing it. So many different agendas here on Earth pertaining to aliens and why they've come here and what they're doing and what they're watching us. But there is such a thing as the prime directive. That is that they're not allowed to overtly interfere with an advancing civilization such as our own, that we do have free will on this planet, and it's really up to us to come to terms with these other benevolent ETs. They're going to be standoffish. They're not going to just land on the White House lawn and announce themselves.
No,
they can't do that because of the prime directive. So those that are doing the abductions and the cattle mutilations, I would propose those are inner Earth ETs, such as reptilians. They were born here on Earth too, perhaps in an underground base, but they have a right to do that. And the example that they use, yes, we abduct humans and sometimes eat them or other nefarious things. Well, the example they give is, look what humans are doing to cattle. You know, we abduct them and we eat them, so they can do the same thing. Kind of makes sense.
But why do you think we're not allowed? We're not allowed to mingle. We're not allowed to meet up in like in general, like we would, you're traveling to another country and you go out and you see the culture and
Yeah.
you just go on a walkabout.
Well, look what's going on in the world right now. We got wars in Ukraine and Iran and all around the place. You know, this is a pretty violent planet. And so if you're coming from another benevolent culture that's never had war for thousands of years, and you look at what we're doing to each other, I mean, they look down at us. This must be like the planet of the apes down here. This is just a wild, crazy place. So maybe for their own well-being, they're keeping their distance.
Yeah, keep it away. Yeah. Do you think that's why that's the reason that there's certain periods in time where there's like mass sightings of these things, or there's big interaction when there's not so much going on Earth? So they're coming out and coming down to have a look and see what we're doing next.
Yeah, there must be a lot of interest in whether or not we're going to pull through this, or we're going to destroy the planet and ourselves with it, or if we're going to be able to get over this speed bump and come together as a unifying human race and put an end to hunger and all the other things that are happening. Look, 1 in 5 humans are going to go to bed malnourished and hungry tonight. Yeah, they can't fathom why we would allow this to happen, why we're not coming together as a human race to put an end to poverty, to restore justice and restore the planet that we live on. There's so much environmental degradation that's going on that we can't even live peacefully on our own planet, let alone join them at the table in a meaningful discussion about joining Federation of Planets or becoming a star-faring country, a nation, a world. So I think we still got a long ways to go, but I think just having this conversation is beneficial to say that, look, there are some humans among us that want to put it into war, that want to join the galactic family. And we realize it must look like a crazy place down here, but we're not participating in the war. We're not doing these dangerous things. So.
Yeah. So do you think they'll ever intervene, or do you think they have intervened? Do you think they've put some?
They have intervened, and they'll say
input. Yeah.
They won't allow us to go full thermonuclear war against each other. That's not fair to the other animals and plants on this planet. So the folly of humans will just be bombing each other and different weird genocide and stuff like that, unfortunately. But I think it's just a couple bad actors that are perpetuating the wars and all the negativity. And unfortunately, I live in a country where our commander-in-chief is ordering airstrikes on Iran. Now, I think we don't have Iran as our enemy. It's the Epstein class that's the real enemy to not only America, but really planet Earth.
Yeah. So distraction. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of that. Well, I suppose there's a lot that's going on everywhere, even in the UK with stuff that's going on over here. It's like everything's distractions. And obviously with the World Cup, that was one of the biggest ones that there's been for everything else that's going on in the background that should be at the forefront, but we just don't get to hear or see it.
Yeah.
So anyway, leave them to it. Hopefully, eventually, it'll all come out. So I've got a couple of questions for you, if that's okay.
Sure.
So, if tomorrow every classified Antarctic file became public, what revelation do you genuinely think would shock people the most?
Probably that they have been here for a very long time. They being a very advanced, even in their own words, many thousands of years ahead of us, is what Admiral Byrd was told when he met with the master, that they have a very advanced civilization below the ice, if you want to call that inner Earth. And we have a lot to learn from them, and they want us to grow up. In fact, the one thing that the master told Admiral Byrd is to go back to the Pentagon and say, don't play around with these nuclear bombs. They're very dangerous. And so we've got a lot of growing up to do, because we still think that somehow war is an answer to problems that we have, but certainly it's not. We've got to become a unified human race, as I said, and we're not really being taken seriously until we can. So that's really the greatest impediment to becoming an advanced civilization, is we got to take care of our own right here, ground zero.
Yeah. Thank you. Looking back over all the years of research, has your biggest belief about UFOs changed dramatically, or has the evidence simply strengthened what you already suspected?
Certainly strengthened what I've already suspected, based on what's coming out in these new data dumps from the Pentagon. They're basically saying, oh yeah, we've been studying it for decades, if not a whole century as well. And we knew that. So all the people that poo-pooed us, tomorrow I'm talking with Alex Collier, and he's been a contactee for many decades. And as I told him, you're vindicated, Alex. Everything you talked about is now proving out to be true. So no, totally get that. But it's like, because I know, well, a few people that are either contactees or abductees, and everyone, but it's the same like information throughout. No one deters off. It's all very similar to what's gone on, from like one to the other. It's like you haven't got a full memory. It's more like a dream state that you're in when you're talking about it and reliving it. So it's like a dream, but as you know, it's more of a memory than a dream. It's like it really happened, but you don't ever remember it happening in real time. That makes sense. The waking dream, yeah, pretty much. So, the encounters that you've had, I'm guessing you've had quite a few with the UFOs and that. Not that many. What was the one out of all of them that like sealed the deal for you? That it's
made
the one
you think
this
is real. This is really going on.
Yeah, I say it in the foreword to my book, Future Esoteric, which gets into the ET and the secret state. And I describe in 1997, I was on a camping trip with a bunch of guys, and we were at Crater Lake in Southern Oregon. And we were watching the sunset and camping at this high part on the lake. And just when we were getting ready to go back up to our campsite, we just see this streak of light going down towards the depths of Crater Lake, and it just breaks up into perfect square blips. And I still can't understand what that was. Could have been one of our advanced lasers, but it seemed to me at the time that it was some kind of interdimensional craft going into a volcano. Now, most UFO sightings around the world are at, above, or within volcanoes. Mount Shasta, the volcano just outside of Mexico City. Millions of people have witnessed UFOs coming and going. And another one of mine up at Mount Adams at the East City Ranch. All night, you're just watching these crafts coming and going out of Mount Adams volcano there in Washington State. So my takeaway is they've been here the whole time. They're watching us. We're watching them, but we're not.
I was going to say, is anyone watching them? Yeah. So not disclosure as such, but when it starts to really come out with the proper detail, like I said, not just the photographs and the videos, but with like actual accounts and documentation and like the hard evidence, who do you think is going to be, I suppose, affected the most? What groups, like whether it's religious, vulnerable, is it the non-believers, believers, experiences, contactees, abductees?
Yeah, probably organized religion. And so the Vatican, they're getting ahead of the narrative. They came out about a decade ago and in a press release and public disclosure talking about what would it be like if we encountered an extraterrestrial race. And they said, oh, well, we could baptize them. we could put our religion on top of them. You know, the Vatican has a telescope with the acronym name Lucifer in Arizona.
Yes.
So they're very actively looking at the stars, and they want to get ahead of this too. And of course, we know the Jesuits, they like to control the narrative and tell their side of the story, or at least put that out there in movies and other ways of basically, prepping the population for this narrative. And of course, you got Spielberg's movie come out last month called Disclosure Day.
Yeah. Have you seen that yet?
It's all timed at when they want it to come out and what they want people to think about. But I think there could still be this fake alien invasion. And maybe that's why they're prepping the narrative and getting us thinking about aliens, is because they still want to do the Project Bluebeam fake alien invasion thing. And I write about that in my book, Beyond Esoteric, that they have the technology to do the holographic sky show and even put voice to skull technology, voices in our head. So we're all schizophrenic and we're hearing the aliens talk to us as we see them up in the sky, or, you know, projecting the Messiah or religious figures around the world as well. Yeah. So it's not over yet. There's still a lot of tomfoolery that could be taking place here.
Yeah. Have you seen Disclosure Day yet?
I have not seen it yet. No.
Are you gonna watch it?
I will eventually. I'll probably watch it on a flight when I'm flying back from somewhere.
Yeah. Because I was gonna go and watch it, and there's so many mixed reviews as to
so many mixed reviews. Yeah.
It's not. I don't know. It's just some people say it's amazing. It's one of the best movies you'll ever see. Others are like, it was so disappointing. I'm not bothered about getting my money back. I just want my time back.
I was just on with Sasha Stone right before this interview, and we brought it up, and he saw it. He says, it's absolute shite.
Yeah. No, that's a general thing of what people are saying. There's like I said, there's an handful that I'd say 30, 70.
Yeah.
So 70 being it's not very good, and 30 people are liking it. But were you talking about the Vatican, do you think they have any direct contact with what's going on in Antarctica?
With Antarctica?
No, I don't mean
I
they know what's going on, but they have like a lot of controls to what's happening.
They do. And a couple of seasons ago, the big story was that Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum and Christine Lagarde, the head of the European Bank, were going down there to none other than a place called Rothschild Island, which is in the southern part of the Palmer Peninsula. There is a real place called that. And there's some kind of base down there. And perhaps combined with the Jesuits, they're doing weather manipulation, weather modification. There's a big HARP machine down there. Yeah. And videos of them sending up these waves that can be detected and starting fires as far away as Greece a couple summers ago.
Oh.
So there's some weird stuff going on down there still. And I think the Jesuits, well, they always find a way to get in the middle of this stuff.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know, you probably do, but I only found out a few weeks ago that HARP, one of their UK bases is in Cambridgeshire.
Yeah, there are HARP bases around the world, and they're even on big ships too, that they can move them around.
And they've got the mobile.
Yeah, mobile. Yep.
So last question, because we're coming up towards the end of the show. With everything that's going on with the Hadron Collider at CERN, with him switching it off and back on, and do you think that's got anything to do with, again, Antarctica?
Or a portal that they're trying to open. Yeah. So supposedly this last time they turned it on, that there was a lot of, videos that I saw where the sky was parting open and looked like perhaps some craft were coming in and out. Is that AI a real video or not? I don't know. But I
don't know.
The thing is set up like a portal.
Yeah.
And it has that kind of power, that technology into doing it for those reasons.
Yeah. Because I was wondering, when it's on, these portals stay open. I'm guessing they have some sort of control as to that they can close them. But if you turn it off, do these portals then just vanish, or do they stay?
So the natural ones, like the one below Antarctica, if you go straight out from there to Vega, that one is always there. That's a natural wormhole and shortcut to Vega. Now, I think the man-made ones, like CERN, they only open for a short period of time. Open and close, open and close. I don't think they have complete control over them yet to keep them open the whole time. But a lot of people say that they're using it to bring in entities and ships nefariously to control the planet.
Might not be a bad thing. Who knows?
Might be a bad thing.
We don't. We'll find out one way or another.
Yeah, I guess we will.
But I remember back in the 90s, I was driving home. I used to work in Bolton. I was driving back to Manchester. It's on like 12 mile, and I seen a silver sphere in the sky. It shot across. It left like an electric blue horizontal trail behind it. And it just stopped dead. Then a red vertical line. The sky opened up. It went through it, and then it all closed behind it.
Wow.
And I literally had to pull up on the air shoulder because I felt sick because of what I'd just seen. I'm like, I had to stop, open the door, stick my head out because I thought I was going to throw up everywhere, because I think it was the shock of like trying to get my head around what I'd just seen. I'm like, and still to this day, I don't know what was going on. It was like a pinhead in the sky. It just went, shot across, stopped dead, then it opened up, went through, and it all closed behind it.
Yeah. Wow.
And that was it. Not seeing anything else. I've seen things like that, but I've never seen that again. It's the only time I've ever seen that happen.
Interesting. So you've had your own experiences too. Yeah. I think most people have seen something, and the huge majority of people believe there's more to this world and others coming in from either faraway planets or right here under our feet, the interterrestrials. So disclosure is really a grassroots movement. It's from the bottom up because people already know. We don't need to be told by the government. I mean, it just reassures what we already know and vindicates people like Alex Collier, who have been talking about this for decades.
Yeah. One more question for you. Is that okay? From the chat. So this is from Tets, and he said, Brad, I've witnessed a UFO looking like a manta ray with orbs in its tail. Does this sound nuts?
No, it doesn't sound nuts. I've heard of the manta ray craft. And did it come out of the ocean with orbs in its tails? Oh, that's kind of interesting. But no, I mean, we talked about the over 100 ET species that have been known to come to Earth. Well, each one of them have their own different kind of craft that they travel in. So it's going to come in a lot of different shapes and sizes and forms. Yeah.
See, I'm now on the thing with what you said before, that the interdimensional, ultra-dimensional, extraterrestrial, inner Earth, there's already here before us, the original human type intelligence. And because if you just think they're coming from one place, it doesn't make sense. They've got to be coming from all over.
Over.
Not like out the ocean, like different times, different realms, different frequencies, just everywhere, really. And like places that we can't even begin to understand. So I'm not going to sleep tonight again.
It's almost nighttime where you're at.
No, it's 9:45. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I already had no sleep this week, so but luckily I'm off work, so it's not too bad, as I said before. So I just want to say a massive thank you for coming on, because I know how busy you are and all the traveling you're doing, going from one conference to another, and all the interviews and podcasts that you're doing along the way. So massive thank you, Brad, so much. Really appreciate you for coming on. So your book, Secrets of Antarctica, I'm guessing you can get that on Amazon.
Yeah, you sure can. And it's best if they order it in the UK or the country of origin, because with these stupid tariffs, it's very expensive for me to ship overseas now. So it's better to get it through a bookseller in your own country, because it's 4 times the cost of the book to send them overseas. I had to discontinue that from my website. But if they're in the US or Canada, I can send a signed copy off of CCCPublishing.com. That's our company website. And all those.
Do you know, I found a way around that, because there's a guy in BMR, Bigfoot Michigan Rob. So he was going to send me his book, and it worked out it was going to cost $50, because I said, I wanted one that was signing. So I said, right, I'll buy the book on Amazon. If you just get a sheet of paper, sign it, post it to me, it'll only cost like $2 or whatever.
That's right.
And then,
there we go.
Did it that way. So
that's a good workaround there, Andy. Good job.
So that kind of worked. So it was all right. But then it's like yourself, you're going to sit there writing on sheets of paper all day, sending them out. Yeah, it'll end up as being as expensive as the books. Cool. Right. So where can people find you other than on Amazon?
Yeah. And then my other website is bradolsen.com.
Yeah.
Same way as my name is spelled there. And that's my upcoming conference schedule. And I'll be coming back to the UK for the Bases Conference in the UK in November. Looks like I'm signing on to another conference in Germany in October. And then I might do a cruise down the Nile with Sasha Stone also in November. So I got another whirlwind international tour coming up of conferences and cool places to visit.
Right. Well, I'll let you go then, because I know how busy you are, like you said. And if I can get up to the Bases Conference, I will try. But as I said, I'm already at a conference in just outside the Midlands. So if I could be in 2 places at once, I would. But I've not got that ability yet. So I'll go on.
Oh no. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's try to meet up and do it again.
Yeah, definitely. But definitely come back on the show if you fancy it. You're more than welcome to come back at any time.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, let's do it again.
Cool. Excellent. Right. Thank you again so much for coming on. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Thank you for all your questions. I'm not going to be back until Monday at 8 p.m. UK time, 3 p.m. EST. And we're going to be talking to John Hanson again, ex-CID. So until then, have a great week and weekend, everyone. And we'll see you on Monday. Take care. Bye-bye. Cheers, Brad.
Cheers.
Signal acquisition initiated. Cross-referencing anomaly archives. Pattern recognition complete. Aether 8 online. Proceed.
Welcome back. You found it again. The UFO Files. Broadcasting round the clock on Alien 8 UK. Red Eye listeners, insomniacs, sky watchers, van drivers on the long haul. You're tuned to the only station that stares back at the dark with you. 24 hours, we circle the same old questions. Lights over the north, shadows over the south. Phone lines open, headphones on, blinds half drawn. I got case notes spread like takeaway menus. Highlighters bleeding through until sunrise. Coordinates scribbled on coffee stained napkins from a truck stop somewhere near the east coast. We don't do jump scares here, we do the long stare out the window at 3:33 a.m. when the estate's asleep and the sky feels too crowded. You call him with that voice, half whisper, half there. First time chatter, long time watcher, and the hairs rise on every neck in frequency range. Maybe it's satellites, maybe it's stories we tell, so we're not alone in these flickering terraces and rented rooms. Either way, keep your dial right here. This is the UFO Files. Alienate UK. All night, every night. Welcome back.
Alien 8 UK.